Hey, so check it out, my 8 kilowatt hour solar PV system on my house, which I'm very excited about. I'm currently charging my Chevrolet Volt, my 2013 Volt, on a level 2 charger. And if you pair electric vehicle charging with a solar PV system that generates electricity for you, and you're essentially zeroing out your electricity usage every month, or close to it, you're essentially getting your fuel for free, and which is one of the main reasons why electric vehicles are way better than gas-powered vehicles or traditional ICE vehicles, because there's only one place to get your fuel for your gasoline-powered vehicle, and that's from a gas station. Whereas if you have an electric car, you can charge it off the grid, you can charge it from solar power. If you have solar power, you can charge it from a home windmill if you have that to generate power. I just got solar panels on my home, powering everything in my house, because this house doesn't have natural gas. It's got a well, so the water's powered by electricity. Powering everything in the home, powering my car, and powering my motorcycle, which is an all-electric 2018 Zero SR with solar. So a company called Moxie Solar they're a turnkey installer. They're based out of Iowa. They reached out to me, and their price was good, and their products that they were offering were good. And I said, all right, let's do it. Signed a contract, and I signed that contract September 23rd. The system was installed November 25th. Today's December 10th, and the last thing to do is the power company has to come out here, switch out the meter to a net meter so it can run both ways from the grid and to the grid, and then turn the system on, and hopefully everything works like it's supposed to. It's an 8 kilowatt hour array. It has 20 400 watt Jinko Cheetah panels. They're monocrystalline photovoltaic panels using Enphase, I think it's Micro Plus, Enphase micro inverters. Each panel has its own inverter, so that if like one string of panels or a couple panels are shaded, it doesn't shut down your whole system, because each panel is generating it's kind of its own little power plant that's combined together. Estimated kilowatt hour generated per year. First year is supposed to be around 10,600, which equates to about 883 kilowatt hours used each month. Hoping during the summer months that it overproduces, and then because of net metering, that overproduction goes back into the grid as a credit towards my account. I can't just cash it out, so it doesn't actually pay me. But on those months, like in the winter months when it's cloudy or the panels aren't generating as much energy, those credits that I accumulated during the summer months can be used towards my electric bill. So hopefully everything gets kind of zeroes out. That's the idea. The panels and the inverters are warranted for, I might have to correct myself on this with a little caption like right here. I think it's 20 years, it might be 25 years. Moxie offers a 15-year workmanship period, so if there's any defects, anything like breaks or falls off. It also includes emergency shutoff panel, and then essentially the fuse box for the two rows of 10 panels. Expected payback period is roughly 8 to 10 years by the time these panels generate enough power to pay for the system. I paid $19,600 for the system out of pocket for the federal tax credit for this year 2020. The federal tax credit is good for 26% of the total cost of the system. That includes everything, the parts, materials, labor, and then after that takes $5,096 off. You get tax credits. If you don't use all those tax credits in a given year, they will roll over to the next tax year. And then with that, I believe the price ends up being $14,000 out of pocket. There are a lot of questions I have, and I think it's things that I will learn kind of over time. Like, for example, this system is an 8 kilowatt hour or 8,000 watt system, so 2,400 watt panels. Now, these solar panels are around the 19 to 20% efficient, so like 19 point something efficiency, and that's first year. After the first year, that efficiency kind of drops off by like a percentage or two, and then after that, the loss in efficiency gets really small, like less than 1% per year. When it says it's an 8 kilowatt hour system, has that already taken into account the 20% efficiency only? Because that would make sense to me if 20% of 8, like 2. So in reality, this is less than a 2 kilowatt hour. It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm thinking, yes, that takes into account the efficiency of the panels. Now, that's one of the negative things people always bring up about solar panels. Well, they're only 20% efficient, or 20% is actually the top of the line panels. Yes, that's true. And what that means is that of all of the sunlight, all the different kinds of radiation, solar light that hits these panels, talking out of my depth. But of all the energy, all the light that hits these panels, that means that roughly 19, we're just gonna say 20, round up. That's incorrect, but 20%, easy number. Only 20% of that energy is converted into a current, an electrical current. Okay, so it's only 20%. Well, yes, that's true, but there's so many different factors, and there's a reason that efficiency is as small as it is. That's not important. It's not like you can either spend 20,000 and get 20% efficient panels, or spend like 100,000 to get 100% efficient. It does nothing. I don't think anything on this earth is 100% efficient. And I'm like 95% sure that they are. That's what the system's rated. So pretty sure I answered my own question on that one. Another thing I'm interested in seeing is, well, I'll show you here real quick. Sorry for this crappy camera work. This is a one-man production. As you can see that there is a gap in between the roof and the panels, okay? The gap from the roof to the panels, from the bottom of the panels, is about 6 inches or so, right? My question is, first of all, in the summertime, because the system is essentially providing shade for good 80% of my roof, my south-facing roof, where most of the sunlight during the day hits, is that going to help cool my house? So not only am I generating power, but I'm also using the air conditioner less because my house is getting that cooling, because the roof is essentially shaded from that heat from the sun hitting the roof and causing the roof to heat, and that heat seeping into the house. Because I don't know if you own a home where you have a south-facing roof and a north-facing roof. Most houses there are complicated. They have all kinds of roof lines. This house is very simple. It's got like 3. In the summertime, or even during the winter right now, my thermostat's not running because the house is already heated up. In the summertime, the south part of the house is probably at least 5 degrees warmer than the north side that doesn't receive that sunlight. And you can tell. My kids' bedrooms are on that side of the house, and when you go into them, it's like, it feels good. It's like legitimately probably like 10 degrees cooler. Does the shade on the roof affect how hot the house gets? Does it help keep the house cool in the summertime? But then the flip side of that is they also act as insulators, meaning that on your roof, that your roof gets, or if your roof gets hot, it can't escape as easily. So will it hold in heat more so in the summertime? Now, I just read a couple things, and it sounds like it's good news. It sounds like, yes, in the summertime, it helps keep your house cool because it's essentially provides shade. That heat from the sun is not hitting your sheet metal if you have a metal roof, or your asphalt shingles if you have an asphalt shingle roof, which is what I have. And then in the wintertime, it said like it actually helps because it doesn't allow as much heat out that your house makes. So I don't know, we'll see. I do know that, like I said today, it's probably in the 40s, but it's bright sun, and I have my thermostat set at 63 because I don't know, I like to be miserable, I guess. But right now it's at 66 by itself, just because from the heat from the sun warming the home. So it's not like I can like take them off one day when it's sunny and then put them back on and see the difference. They're on there for, you know, the foreseeable future. So they didn't put any kind of angle on these panels. Like some panels you'll see on houses, like they're kicked up in the back so they're better angled towards the sun. Right now, if you look at my hand, right now the angle of the sun is like that. So these panels would need to be further up to be directly. But it's December. This isn't the prime time for solar energy. What I'm guessing is, if you can see the sun, that angle right there, it's right above the treetops. In the summertime, it's going to be probably about right there. Now, take that angle, like right now, it's like they're still gonna generate power, but it's not as much, right? But in the summertime, when the sun's like up and, you know, like this facing, the panel's gonna be like directly. And I think they calculated that in when the engineers from Moxie built the system. Like, there's no reason to put, what do you want to call them, stilts or whatever in the back to get that angle when the prime solar power time, summer months, you know, those 6 months of the year, whatever, the angle is going to be about perfect. Like right now, if you touch the roof that's in the sun, it's going to be warm. But if you reach your hand behind the panels, and this is obvious, right? It's like cool. It's like cold. You know, so pretty sure I answered my own question there. I did not get a Tesla Powerwall because Indiana has full net metering. But that's one of the reasons why. I didn't get a Tesla Powerwall because they're extremely expensive. And for this system, I don't need one to get the full benefit of this system, because Indiana has full net metering, and you get the full, like what you pay per kilowatt hour, you get as a credit per kilowatt hour that you generate. You can accumulate. There's no limit to how many you can accumulate in the bank, essentially in the grid as a credit. So as far as like using power that in the evening when the sun's not shining that I overproduce during the day, I'll just pull from the grid. If that makes sense. The only thing that a battery would be good for here, obviously, is for a power outage. We don't really get too many power outages, probably maybe 5 a year, I would say. And when that does happen, unless it's like a really bad ice storm or, you know, a tornado, which I've lived in Indiana most of my life, I've never seen a tornado. Usually the power is out for a day at most. So that's it, that's my system. I really wasn't planning on talking about this today because the system's not on yet, and I'm really antsy. Like, all they have to do is come out and switch out the meters. Getting some good sun on those panels. They're not generating anything for me because it's not turned on yet. You just gotta be patient. I'm gonna have this system hopefully for at least 20 years. excited. It's kind of like a dream come true. I'm kind of a nerd about this kind of stuff, so I've always kind of preached like, hey, electric vehicle, you know, solar panels if you can, and not to toot my own horn, but I'm kind of the person that I practice what I preach. If I say I'm going to do something, I generally do it. I don't talk out my ass, pardon my language. Generally, I've learned from the Marine Corps, I don't tell people my plans until after they've happened, because my plans have changed so often with that. So that's kind of where that comes from. I'm going to keep track of every month's electric bill, how much solar was generated in that month, just kind of see like, is the system everything it says it's, you know, it was advertised, and is solar everything it's supposed to be? I have like seasonal affective disorder. Like when it's sunny and nice out, I'm like high, and then when it's cloudy and gloomy, I'm just like depressed. It's weird. The system total cost was $19,600. Again, that's $19,600. That's a lot of money by any means. But I am kind of about buying. I'm gonna buy something big, spend a lot of money buying what I want to call assets, essentially something that it's an investment. It's going to pay for itself or pay me over time. You know, there are a lot worse ways to spend $19,600. You can spend it on a boat that you'll use 3 times a year. You can spend it on a truck that you can't afford, or I'm always dogging on truck people. A car you can't afford, a Corvette. You buy a bad investment. You know, like it could sit in your savings account making 0.25% a year. You know, so I have a perfect south-facing roof. I have electric vehicles. It only made sense. It only makes economical sense. And notice that I'm not talking about any of the environmental impacts, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that's kind of hard to say. Like, who cares about the environment? If we did, we would all like live in like dirt mounds. You know, like you gotta live your life, right? But I try to do my best to be the most economical and the most efficient that I can in my own home. Get off my high horse. The Monty Python thing where they. That's kind of like my like finally video. So Clay Beerman, see you next time.